The White House and congressional leaders have reached a deal to raise the country's debt limit and dramatically raise federal spending levels. Avoiding a potential showdown to avoid a government shutdown, the two-year agreement was announced yesterday, following several days of intense negotiations led by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. It is expected to clear both the House and the Senate before lawmakers leave for their August recess, though it is likely to face considerable pushback from conservatives and budget hawks. Under the plan, the debt limit will be suspended until July 31st, 2021, and automatic spending cuts that would have kicked in without a deal will be halted. The Pentagon's budget will be increased by $22 billion to $738 billion next fiscal year. The plan will also boost non-defense spending by $27 billion to $632 billion. While President Trump is touting the deal as a victory, it will mean more red ink for an already ballooning deficit. Before the deal, Trump was already facing a $1 trillion deficit this year. As a candidate in 2016, Trump bragged that he would pay off the entire federal debt in 8 years. But as of Friday, the national debt stands at more than $22 trillion. Another broken promise or exaggerated promise. Let's put it that way, Joe.
No, it's just a broken promise. He said he'd pay off the debt. Not only did he not pay off the debt, federal spending has increased at record clips. We're spending more than we ever have before as a federal government. Centralized state is bringing in more money, spending out more money, printing more dollars that are worthless. We have right now, Steve Ratner, again, we're over $22 trillion in debt. Donald Trump actually promised on the campaign trail that he would pay off the debt. But in fact, his yearly deficits have exploded. Defense spending has exploded. Non-defense spending has exploded. Entitlement spending has exploded. This is big government republicanism like we've never seen before. And to have this sort of budget deal where everybody agrees to spend even more money when Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is buckling under the weight of demographic changes, it's just one more extraordinarily reckless example of how Republicans just don't mean anything that they said.
It's really quite remarkable. You had this period after the great financial crisis when the deficit did hit $1 trillion for what I would argue were legitimate reasons, deep recession, and then Obama worked it down and down and down with a lot of pressure, a lot of political pain, and now you have a situation where both sides kind of say to each other, all right, what do you want? Republicans want more military spending and lower taxes? Fine, you can have that. Democrats want more domestic spending and don't touch entitlements? Fine, you can have that. And so everybody gets what they want. It's like sort of a kid's birthday party. And the consequence is, as you said, the deficit is headed back to $1 trillion. And we just to tease my charts, we have some charts to lay that out for you graphically a bit later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Mike Barnicle, the last few years of the Obama administration, discretionary non-defense spending went down 3%. Under Donald Trump, it's shot up by 4%. And again, these aren't entitlements. This isn't the military. This is the rest of everything. This is government. Even with a $22 trillion debt, it's gone up. So Donald Trump has passed a massive tax cut that helps, as he said, to his buddies, made all of his billionaire buddies richer, helped multinational corporations. Defense spending has exploded. Domestic spending has exploded. Everything's exploded. The deficit, $1 trillion, that is the highest, biggest deficit, yearly deficit of all time when we're in good economic times. And again, the national debt, the Trump national debt, over $22 trillion and breaking records every day. And let me just add, nobody cares. I've written 3 books about this. Nobody in Washington seems to care.
Well, Joe, one of the most amazing things about the negotiations over this budget deal was that your former political party clearly has a high tolerance for deficits now that they never had before. It's just amazing. And they also must have, Karine, a high tolerance for hypocrisy, because as Joe just pointed out, during the Obama administration, you know, if you were at 25 cents over, you know, no, we can't do that program because you're exploding the deficit. But now, no.
Yeah, now we're in a totally different ball game here. But let me say two things. The first thing is, who knows what Donald Trump is going to actually do? We have seen time and time again, he's not a reliable deal maker, right? He'll watch a segment on Fox and he'll change his mind. He'll go back and forth. So we don't know exactly will he ultimately land on this. But I have to say, Democrats, I don't understand their strategy here. And I'll say this because they got very little out of it to me, because they're giving Donald Trump a pass for the rest of his term on the debt ceiling, and you know, and two, for the new Democratic president.
But they got a pass too on it.
They did, but I guess my point is, like, they're leaving a ticking bomb for whoever comes in next to be the new Democratic, you know, president. I mean, this is not good. This is not good at all. And so everyone just kind of sits back and, you know, and that's it. It just doesn't make sense. I do not see what Democrats got out of this.
Everybody, Mika, everybody just spins, and everybody walks away happy. And, you know, they're just, for those who are cynical and say, oh, well, that's what they always do. It's not what they always do. When I got elected to the U.S. House, I said balancing the budget was going to be my top priority. It was a real concern at the time. Everybody said it couldn't happen. We balanced the budget 4 years in a row. 4 years in a row. That's the first time that happened since the 1920s, about 100 years ago. It can happen, but it takes tough choices being made every day. And for people sleepy at home going, why does this matter? I'll tell you why this matters, because at some point your Social Security checks are going to stop coming in. At some point, your Medicare checks are going to stop coming in. At some point, all of these politicians on both sides of the aisle telling you that everything's going to be okay, they're lying to you. And they're lying to you for different reasons. We can't continue to go. You know, put in perspective, when I was in Washington, I was complaining about a $4 trillion debt. When George W. Bush got elected, it was a $5 trillion debt. When Barack Obama got elected, it was an $11 trillion debt. Donald Trump got elected, about $18 trillion. It'll be a $30 trillion debt most likely before Donald Trump leaves office. Guess what? We can't keep printing money. We will be Argentina, and your Social Security checks and your Medicare checks will stop coming. Just ask the Medicare trustees and the Social Security trustees. The numbers don't add up, Mika. And Donald Trump, again, lying to the American people, saying that he was going to pay down the debt, just like he said he was going to give them better health care, just like he said he wasn't going to fight against pre-existing conditions, just like he said he was going to make people's deductibles lower and their health care. I mean, everything the man has said during the campaign about health care, deficits, Medicare, Social Security, and protecting them, all lies.
Last time I checked, for conservatives, spending and the deficit was an important issue to them. Still don't understand what they think they're getting out of Donald Trump, what they're holding back for. We're going to revisit this.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.